Hi YouTube world, how are you? So I hope everyone is great. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new here. As the title suggests, today I'll be talking about the craziest thing I did a few weeks back. So I know this is supposed to be like basic practice, like reviewing your goals and stuff, but apparently that was not something that I did. Like I was one of those people that I would set goals and then I would do some, and then some would just like go back and life would happen and we just move on, and then we'll set another goals, same thing would happen. And then last month, I was like, you know what, let me see like what have I been doing for the last 5 years, let me review the goals and see like how far I can. And then the realization hit me that like probably I should be doing this a lot often, because I realized a good pattern of repetitive mistakes, which means if I had the habit of like continuous reviewing, I would have noticed the errors area and probably like would have worked on the areas sooner. That's one. Two is just that I found myself in like a spiral of working on the same things over and over and over, because like each time you just like set it and then you just slide it down, you let it go, like same cycle, same problems, same things. So I was like, you know what, this is not it. So I'm sharing this video so that one, you would learn. If you don't set your goals already, you should start doing that. If you do that and you are like me, not reviewing them, maybe you should start reviewing them, because there's a lot to be learned within the review process. So it's a good practice. And just to mention, this video feels a bit vulnerable because in all my years of like setting goals and stuff, like my goals have been my goals. Like I never shared my stuff with like anyone, and then here I am. Keeping myself out there, not very sexy, but this is the video and you're gonna get into it. So I'm gonna review like a few things that I've been doing over the past years, and then at the end I'll share like the repetitive lessons that I've learned and stuff like that, and then we'll see like how we could work on that. So first and foremost, I think between 2015 to 2018 is when I was doing my degree. So these are the papers, by the way. So I did separate my goals based on the years, and then I did the reviews and stuff. So between 2015 and 2018 were the ages where I was doing my degree. And back then when I was schooling, my main goal was just to pass. Like it was just like, do what you can do, but make sure you're passing exams. Like that was my life goal. So like my whole life was around just passing exams. So I think it is what it is. And I did pretty good with that because I never failed any paper. So I could say like those years were successful. But immediately after that is when I felt like maybe I need to start like setting personal goals, because like now what? Now I don't have exams to work towards. To now my life is just like a whole spiral, a whole roller coaster. Like I don't even know where this year is gonna end. So like that's where I started developing that habit, because I felt like things were just like loosey, and I'm that kind of person where I need things to work towards too for me to be able to focus. Yeah, so that's where the whole thing started. But between 2015 to 2018, when I was reviewing my stuff, I realized that I did have the goals. I wanted to start a YouTube channel back in 2015. I even like started this back then, I think, but then I did not post any video. So that's one thing that I kind of like wanted to, but I did not work on it, and then I just let it slide. I also wanted to like I wanted to do my Spanish exam. It was in 2016, but I did not do that. Another thing that I just let slide, and then I came to realize that so technically so here I wrote the things in for how many years I've been planning to work on these things. So technically I've wanted to go take my Spanish exam for the past 8 years. Crazy. Like every year I'll say, this year I'll go take my Spanish exam and like be able to determine my level and stuff like that, and then this will happen, that would happen, and be like in the background. That never happened. Same thing with my YouTube. Like I wanted to do YouTube since I was in like first year uni, and I just prepared the channel and did 0 recordings. That was also in the background until this year. I was like, you know what, maybe it's just high time we just give these things a go. And actually I did give this thing a go after the review, like after I did the review, I was like, this is crazy. This has to be the year that I start like actually working on these things. So there is where like I started like this whole thing. Okay, so that was like 2015 to 2018. Oh my god, I have like a lot of papers, it's almost confusing. And then 2018, which was my graduation year, 2018, I think my biggest goal was just graduating, and then I did that. I also had like this business on the side which was also doing great. So I'll say this year so far it went great, except I did not do the YouTube thing, or I did not work on my Spanish exam as I wanted to. So that's aside. And then there came 2019, where technically I was studying, so I was doing my master's, and my goal for 2019 was passing my master's because I did not want to resit for any paper. I think I'm one of those people, when I get into education, like I hate repeating exams. Like I'll do my very best. I'll go above and beyond to not have any sub, because I'm not sitting again for an exam. Like I don't have the time, first and foremost. So for 2019, I think that was my biggest thing. And then I was also like working on like improving my reading habit, because back in 2018 I was not reading as much for fun. I was reading more for school. So 2019 is when like I started like nurturing my reading behavior just for like the fun of it. That was something I was working on the side. Also, I was working on this Books for Change project, where I was planning an event to go like donate books and stuff like that. So most of my time was dedicated to those things. And I also started investing with UTT, I think around this year. But despite all of that, I had like a good range of things that were pending, and looking back at them, I'm like, whoop, we just kept that on the side. But then again, this year I also set the goal of like again working on my Spanish and starting my YouTube channel, but then that also went on the side, not done. And I did not even review my goals in 2020, so I repeated the mistake, kept the same things on my New Year's resolutions, like, oh, YouTube, do my Spanish exam for the third year. Like it's crazy how much things could just be repetitive when you just don't do reviews. So in 2020, I had a range of goals, I think, by the beginning of the year. But when COVID happened, everything was cancelled. And my main goal in 2020 was to survive. Like I had this mentality, like, it does not matter how much I make. If I die today, who's going to use that money? So my goal for 2020 was just like to survive. And I was also working on my thesis, but then my thesis for my master's, so that was all. But on the side, I did have YouTube and my Spanish exam, which is still pending. This is like for the sixth year in a row, because I've been keeping these two goals on my roster since 2015. You see? And it's not just the two. There are a lot others, but it's just that others are a bit personal, so I just won't be keeping myself out there like that. And then back in 2020, I also had this goal to like go haiku Dizungwa, and then it never happened. Actually, it's fun because like 3 years later, this year is when I went to Dzungwa, and I actually finally went to Dzungwa after doing a review. I was like, I had wanted to do this since 2020. Why have I not done it? And then I was like, you know what? It's not even that far. I'll just take some time out my schedule and I'll actually do it. And then I did it this year. And why did I do it this year? Because I actually reviewed my goals and see where I was lagging. And then I questioned myself, why haven't I done these things if they're going to like make me happy in a way or two? And then I decided to do them. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Back in 2021, I did like a lot of creative projects in 2021. So it was somehow a good month, but also I think I can't truly remember what happened in 2021, because I think from my end, I think I was struggling with what I can't remember, because I don't remember it being a good year, but it was not also a bad year. Like it was somewhere in the middle. But I remember in 2021, for the most part, I just did like a lot of creative projects. Like I was doing like a lot of IGTV content for for the book reviews, and then I did like the card games project. I also had like a lot of other creative projects. I have this creative page where I kept out my creative project there, so I think I was working mostly on that. Also, I was working full-time. Oh, I remember. Actually, I think it's 2021 that I became aware on how much time my job was taking out of my schedule, because I technically had no time to do like a lot of the things that I wanted to do for myself, which is why like most of my goals in 2021 were not accomplished. And then that was when I was like very much aware of like how much time my job takes away from me. And then I started to like work on changing that, because it was like, it was a big hassle. I think in 2020 was a bit easier when it comes to like on my personal side, because I was working from home, so it was so easy for me to move between like corporate stuffs and my own stuff, so like I had time to do things for myself. But 2021, we had to go back to the office, and then I was working full-time. That was the year that I felt like, bruh, this is not it. Like a lot of my time just went to corporate work. Like what was that? Robbery, daylight. And then in 2022, actually, I forgot to mention that in 2021 I also had Spanish and the YouTube thing and a lot of other things that have been dragged since 2019. So they had moved from 2019 paper to my 2020 paper, and now they were on my 2020 paper still unaccomplished. It's very hard. So I had the Spanish thing again on my 2021 paper, but in 2021 I kind of just like changed things. Instead of writing like to do my Spanish exam, I wrote like, there is this book called Say It in Swahili, so I wanted to translate that from, because it is English to Swahili, so I wanted to translate that from like English to Spanish, so that to see like how much I know. It was more of like just to test myself, but even that I did not do. It's a game, man. Like looking back at it, I'm like, why was I even setting all these things? And then I did like nothing. But then I understand we don't get to do everything that we want to do anyway. Back in 2022, I did a number of things which were good. So here's where I think 2022 was the year I started investing in cryptos, if I'm correct, probably because in the course list it was not in my 2021 list, it was probably my 2022 list. But I also had Spanish and YouTube again for like this was the 7th year. Is it 7th, 8th? I can't keep track, but they have been in my list since 2015. And now here they are again. Like I've been dragging these things. And let me just clarify again, it's not just the two things. The two things are the things that I'm comfortable mentioning, but it's like a number of things. Like I've been dragging them since like 2019. And then every year I keep them in my next year's goal. Every year I move them. And because I'm not reviewing, I kind of like don't see how much I've dragged this thing. I hope that makes sense. So those were also repetitive here. Yeah, but 2022 was kind of good for me. Great. I also I had like a proud MJ moment when I became a land owner and stuff like that, so it was good. 2023 we also did a lot of number of stuffs, and here again we have Spanish and YouTube. But at least this year something is done about it too. So for my Spanish exam, after the review, after doing where's that paper? Excuse me. Okay. So after doing the review, I kind of like had a list of all the things that have been repetitive. So I don't want you to be able to read, but I want you to be able to see the list. So this is all the list of things that have been repetitive. It's crazy. So I've literally dragged all things in this list for 8 years. 8 years of wanting to do them and not actually doing them. Crazy. So after doing this review, I decided to start the channel, like being active on the channel, because I wanted to have the YouTube channel for like a long time. And then I started that. Also, I started getting ready for my Spanish exam. because it's long overdue anyway. Like if something has to happen for me to me after the exam, it means I've been blocking my own blessing by not doing the exam. Do you know what's making sense? Because I have this mentality that I think sometimes you're blocking your own blessings because you're not taking the stepping stone. Let's say there is a blessing for you behind a certain door, but then if you don't open that door, you not get to the blessing. Let's say my door could have been doing the Spanish exam, and then I'm blocking my own blessing because I'm not doing the exam, and I've been dragging this thing for like 8 years. So crazy. And then I did go haiku Zungwa, which was my it was my long time goal, but this year after doing the review I decided to actually go do it. I'd also written some short stories a way back, and they're supposed to go public, but I've always been dragging them. So this year I decided to like finalize them and put them out, and I did that as well. So I did post the stories on Medium. Like I have a channel on Medium where I post my short stories and stuff. So I kept them there, and I've worked on a few other things that I have dragged them, and my goal right now is to tick off everything in this list, like everything that I've dragged for the past 8 years. I want this to be the year that they're all going out of my papers, because I'm not gonna take this forward again. Like this is a long drag. So that's that. And for me to be able to do that, I actually so I sat down with myself like an adult that I am, and I asked myself, like, why have I dragged these things so much? Because they're not to be dragged that much. So I kind of like had to see what are the things that have kind of like stopped me from like accomplishing these things in the other days. So I came to realize, like, first is like I hate the idea of limited internet. So because there are certain things here, for me to be able to do them at home, I needed to have like unlimited access of internet. So I had to work on that. I got a home Wi-Fi for that, because as I said, this is the other way of doing all of them. So I wrote a list of things that, because I know you can't open new doors with the same keys. Like you have to change something to get a different output, you know, like kind of situation. So it's like, if these things were not done, it's because there were barriers. What are the barriers? I have to identify the barriers so that I can remove the barriers for me to attain the things that I wanted to attain. So I did work on the home Wi-Fi thing, and there are like a lot of other things that can't go public. I think it's just to identify the areas that need change, that has somewhat like made it easy for me to know like what has to be done where, for me to be able to change these things and actually accomplish these things. So that's it. After watching this video, you go review your own goals and see what has been repetitive, because sometimes the things that are repetitive are not even like, it's not that they're hard, it's just that we kind of like lose track of things, and just like things get out of handy and stuff like that. So I hope you go review your own goals. If you don't have any goals to review, maybe you should start setting goals for yourself and stuff like that. So this is it for this video. But also for goal reviews, if you want me to do like a video on how to like do all of that thing, let me know in the comments below. I use different systems currently, so there's this 12-week system, and there are a lot of other systems for like goal setting and stuff, but I have not found the one that is like the best. I'm still like experimenting with a lot of things, and yeah, I hope this video has been useful, and please take your time to go review your own goals and work on yourself and grow, because that's what we are here on this earth to do, to grow and flourish. Okay guys, go be great. Bye bye.